Dark doesn't always mean dangerous. Richard Lee never thought much about bread. For most of his 70 years, it was just bread, a slice with breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, sometimes even a piece with dinner. And when given the choice, Richard always reached for something dark, something with weight, with bite, with character, whole wheat, rye, and especially pumpernickel. He liked the way it made him feel, hearty, healthy, grounded. But that comfort shattered the day he was told his kidneys were struggling, early-stage kidney disease. The words hit harder than he expected, not because of pain, not because of fear, but because of what it meant: restrictions, adjustments, giving up the things he'd always enjoyed. His doctor's advice was simple: watch your numbers, potassium, phosphorus, sodium. So Richard did what many seniors do when they hear the word renal. He panicked. He cleared his pantry. Out went the whole grains, the seeded crackers, the thick dark loaves, and especially the pumpernickel. After all, darker meant denser, and denser meant dangerous, right? But here's where Richard's story took a turn, not with fear, but with facts. At his first visit with a renal dietitian, he laid it all out. "I gave up everything dark," he said, half proud, half defeated. She smiled gently, then pulled out a slice of commercial pumpernickel bread. Nothing fancy, nothing imported, just a regular store-bought loaf. Then she pointed to the label: potassium, 54 milligrams, phosphorus, 46 milligrams sodium. Depends on brand, some under 150 milligrams. Richard blinked. That was lower than the multigrain bread he used to eat, lower than he thought possible. She explained, "Pumpernickel, especially the kind made with rye flour and fermented slowly, doesn't carry the same mineral punch as other dense breads. Its old-world process actually helps keep potassium and phosphorus in check, if you know where to look." Of course, not all pumpernickel is created equal. The thick, rustic, European-style loaves, the ones with salted crusts and rich molasses tones, those can be loaded. Too salty, too heavy, too much. But regular sliced pumpernickel, the kind that weighs around 27-30 grams per slice, is often far safer than people realize. That day, Richard made a quiet promise to himself. He wasn't going to live in fear of food. He was going to live in awareness. Over the next few weeks, he found a brand that worked. Low in sodium, simple in ingredients. He kept it plain, adding just a few slices of cucumber or a thin spread of mashed avocado. No salt, no meat, no processed spreads. And when he returned for his next round of labs, the numbers spoke louder than his worries ever did. Phosphorus, down, potassium, controlled, confidence, restored. But more than the lab results, it was the emotional shift that stayed with him. "I thought kidney disease meant giving up everything," he told his wife one morning as they sat at the breakfast table, steam rising from their coffee mugs. "But this bread, it gave me something back. A sense of normal, a slice of routine, a food that felt like home, without the guilt." So, if you're someone who's always thought darker bread meant more danger, think again. Pumpernickel, when chosen carefully, might just be the slice you've been missing. Look for thin, commercial-style slices, 30-degree, sodium, under 150 milligrams per slice, no added seeds, nuts, or dairy. Avoid thick, crusty, artisan-style loaves, fancy deli versions with extra salt, pumpernickel with molasses or caramel coloring. Because when it comes to kidney health, it's not just about cutting foods out, it's about finding the right way back in. And for Richard Lee, and many seniors like him, that path started with a slice of misunderstood bread. Wholesome on the outside, tricky on the inside. Oats. Just saying the word makes people feel healthier. We've been told for years that oats are a superfood, good for the heart, good for digestion, and full of fiber that keeps things running smooth. So when you see a loaf labeled oat bread, it's easy to assume you're making the smart choice, especially if you're over 60, watching your cholesterol or managing early kidney concerns. But here's the truth no one puts on the front label. Oat bread isn't always what it seems. Most oat breads you'll find at the store aren't made from oats alone. In fact, they're usually a blend, part oat flour, part refined wheat flour, a sprinkling of rolled oats, and often a handful of ingredients that might quietly cause trouble for aging kidneys. Things like whey, buttermilk, seeds, or multigrain mixes can sneak in, and with them come higher levels of phosphorus and potassium. Let's look at the numbers. Depending on the brand, potassium ranges from 44 millimoles to 84 millimoles per slice. Phosphorus falls between 42 millimoles to 84 millimoles. Sodium can land anywhere from 120 millimoles to 180 millimoles. For healthy kidneys, those numbers may be manageable, but for aging kidneys that filter less efficiently, every milligram matters. Over time, even small daily missteps can lead to symptoms like fluid retention, fatigue, and lab numbers that slowly creep upward. That's why label reading isn't optional. It's essential. Next time you pick up oat bread, don't stop at the front of the package. Flip it over and look for this checklist. Sodium under 150 mg per slice. Short, simple ingredients. No seeds or nuts, no dairy additives. Whey, powdered milk, buttermilk. Avoid multigrain or heart-healthy buzzwords unless you check the actual minerals, but choosing the right bread is only half the battle. The real danger comes from what you put on top. Let's talk toppings. You might think peanut butter is a great match. It's protein-packed and spreads easy. But it's also high in potassium and phosphorus and not ideal for a renal diet. Bananas, also high in potassium. Tomato slices, delicious, but risky, especially in quantity. That's how a healthy-looking breakfast can turn into a silent setback. So what's safe? A thin layer of unsalted butter, phosphorus-free cream cheese. Check the label. Many brands now offer kidney-safe versions. Scrambled egg whites, skip the yolks, which are higher in phosphorus. Lightly sautéed zucchini or bell pepper slices. These toppings let you enjoy the bread without overwhelming your kidneys. And finally, let's talk about something that's easy to forget. Portion size. Even the best oat bread can add up fast. 2 slices in the morning, another 2 at lunch, a small piece with dinner. Before you know it, you've stacked up more minerals than your kidneys can comfortably handle. That's why 1 to 2 slices per meal is the safest rule of thumb. And if you're not sure, check with your renal dietitian to fine-tune it based on your personal needs. Because here's the bottom line. Oat bread isn't bad. It's not your enemy, but it demands attention. It asks you to pause, to look past the wholesome label, and to understand what's really inside. For seniors navigating the complexity of kidney health, that awareness can mean the difference between steady labs and subtle, dangerous decline. So yes, keep the oats, enjoy the fiber, but do it on your terms, not the packages. Because when it comes to protecting your kidneys, every slice counts. Good for absorption, but what happens when your kidneys can't let go? In the health food world, few things carry as much praise or confusion as sprouted grain bread. You'll find it stacked neatly in the refrigerated section of organic markets. It comes in earthy packaging, stamped with words like clean, natural, ancient, and whole. It's dense, nutty, slightly sweet, and often marketed as a kind of bread for the enlightened eater. Someone who knows better, who's doing better. And in many ways, those claims aren't wrong. Sprouted grain bread is made differently. Instead of grinding dry grains into flour, the grains are germinated, allowed to sprout just as they would in nature. That sprouting process begins to break down phytates, natural compounds that block mineral absorption. It also boosts certain vitamins, softens the grain, and increases digestibility. In short, it makes nutrients more available to the body. But here's where the blessing becomes a burden. For a healthy person, better mineral absorption is a good thing. But for someone with chronic kidney disease, CKD, especially in stages 2 or 3, it can become dangerous. Because what your kidneys can't excrete, they're forced to hold on to. And that's where trouble begins. Let's break it down. A single slice of sprouted grain bread, roughly 34-43 grams, contains potassium, 73, 81 mg phosphorus, 73 mg protein, 35G, sodium. Some brands go as low as 75, 80 millimoles. On the surface, those numbers may not look terrifying, especially when compared to processed loaves that carry double or triple the sodium. But here's the critical detail most seniors don't know. Sprouted bread minerals are more bioavailable, meaning more gets absorbed into your bloodstream. And for aging kidneys with reduced filtering power, that's a serious load. It's like having a smaller trash can but throwing in heavier garbage. You're filling up faster without even realizing it. And that's what makes sprouted grain bread a double-edged slice. Let's talk about what to watch out for. Nuts and seeds. While they add texture and flavor, they also raise phosphorus and potassium dramatically. Dairy ingredients, like whey or buttermilk powder, often hidden, sneak in extra phosphorus and sodium. Multiple grains, many sprouted breads mix 5, 7, even 9 different grains, each adding its own mineral profile. So even if the label says low sodium, the total kidney burden could still be high. That doesn't mean sprouted bread is off the table. It just means it needs to be treated with respect. Here's how to make it work safely. Guidelines for choosing. Sprouted grain bread. Look for low sodium brands under 150 milligrams per slice, ideally closer to 75 to 80 milligrams. Read the ingredient list carefully. No nuts, no seeds, no dairy byproducts. Stick to 1 slice per meal, especially if you're in CKD stage 3 or higher. Never assume it's kidney safe just because it's labeled healthy. Always talk to your renal dietitian before making it a regular part of your diet. And here's where the emotional part comes in. Many seniors, maybe even you, reach for sprouted bread because it feels like the last connection to health food. After giving up fast food, fried food, salty snacks, sugary drinks, there's a comfort in choosing something natural and wholesome, but health isn't one size fits all. What nourishes one person can quietly harm another. That's the paradox of sprouted grain bread. Yes, it's healthy, but maybe not for your kidneys. It's a tool, not a staple. Something to be used wisely, not blindly. Angela, age 67, said it best after her phosphorus levels spiked unexpectedly. I thought I was doing everything right. No chips, no soda, no junk, just salads and sprouted bread. But no one told me that the thing I trusted most might have been the one pushing my kidneys over the edge. It's not about fear. It's about awareness. That same slice, under guidance, might work beautifully for another senior, one who's losing muscle, struggling to eat meat, and needs plant-based protein. For them, a high-protein sprouted slice could be a helpful tool in building strength without loading the body with sodium. That's why, in kidney nutrition, context is king. So when you stand in front of the fridge aisle, hand hovering over that rustic brown loaf with the eco label, remember, sprouted grain bread isn't off limits. But it's not your everyday bread either. Use it with guidance. Use it with caution. And most of all, use it with clarity, knowing that you're not just eating for fullness, but for function. Because in kidney care, the food you choose isn't just about what tastes good. It's about what stays with you and what your body can safely let go. Not all bread is made the same, and some of the oldest methods may still be the kindest to your kidneys. Sourdough isn't just a trend for foodies and artisan bakers. Long before it became a social media sensation, it was the bread of peasants, farmers, and monks, made with patience, passed from kitchen to kitchen like a living tradition. And today, for seniors managing kidney health, that tradition may still offer something powerful, a slice that feels indulgent without being risky. Let's talk about what makes sourdough different. Unlike regular bread that uses commercial yeast, sourdough is made through wild fermentation, a natural process where a starter of flour and water attracts wild yeast and lactic acid bacteria from the environment. This slow fermentation process has 3 big benefits. It reduces phytates, natural compounds that block mineral absorption. It improves digestion, especially for those with sensitivities. It may help lower blood sugar spikes after meals due to its acidity and slower carbohydrate breakdown. Sounds like a dream, right? And when you look at the nutritional numbers, at least for white flour sourdough, the promise becomes even clearer. Potassium, steered 32 microsmeters per slice. Phosphorus, at 29 millions. Sodium, around 170 milliliters. Lower in some brands, higher in fancy bakery loaves. That's noticeably lower in phosphorus and potassium than most whole grain or multigrain breads. For seniors with compromised kidney function, that's a major win. But, and this is important, there's a catch. Because of the fermentation process, the minerals that do remain in sourdough are often more bioavailable. That means your body absorbs them more easily. So while the label might show low numbers, your kidneys may still have more to process than you think. And for kidneys that are slowing down, even low numbers can feel heavier when absorbed more efficiently. Still, compared to most breads, sourdough holds its ground. The key is choosing the right kind. What to look for: made with white flour, not whole wheat, which increases mineral content, low sodium versions, ideally under 150 milligrams per slice, No thick crusts or stone-ground marketing. Those tend to be denser and saltier. Avoid bakery sourdough with extra salt, seeds, or enriched ingredients. Safe, kidney-friendly pairings, scrambled egg whites, high in protein, low in phosphorus, unsalted butter for that familiar richness without extra sodium. Low potassium hummus. Skip the tahini, add a little lemon and garlic, thin slices of sautéed zucchini or cabbage. Gentle on kidneys, easy on digestion. And if you're toasting sourdough, that rustic crunch can make even a plain breakfast feel like a special occasion without crossing any health lines. For many seniors, the fear of kidney disease is really the fear of losing taste, of losing pleasure, texture, flavor, the comfort of real food. But sourdough reminds us of something important. You don't need to sacrifice taste to stay safe. That slow tang, that chewy bite, that satisfying crunch when toasted, it's all still possible. You just have to know what to look for and how to portion wisely. Even sourdough, with all its history and simplicity, isn't a free pass. Because of that increased absorption, you still need to be mindful. Stick to one slice at a time, unless approved by your renal dietitian. Avoid pairing it with high potassium toppings. Use it occasionally, not daily, unless your labs support it. For some seniors, it may become a regular part of their meal plan. For others, a once-a-week treat. Either way, it's proof that ancient methods still hold value, even in the modern science of kidney care. Because the real goal isn't just survival, it's living well, with joy, with flavor, and with intention. And sometimes all that begins with a slice of old-world bread and a modern understanding of your body. Sometimes the least popular choice is the safest one. In a world obsessed with superfoods, whole grains, and health trends, white bread has become the punchline, the thing everyone says to avoid. It's labeled as empty, processed, unhealthy, even useless. But what if for someone over 60, especially someone managing declining kidney function, this much maligned loaf is actually the safest slice on the shelf? It may not be flashy, it won't win any nutrition awards. But when it comes to kidney protection, white bread might quietly be doing more good than people give it credit for. Let's break it down. White bread is made from refined wheat flour, meaning the bran and germ of the grain have been removed. That's what strips it of most fiber and complex nutrients. But for kidneys that are struggling, less isn't always bad. In fact, with the bran removed, you're left with less phosphorus, less potassium, and less protein, all things your kidneys would otherwise have to filter and regulate. A typical slice of white bread contains potassium, 25 mg phosphorus, 24 mg protein under 2 grams. Those are some of the lowest mineral levels you'll find in any bread. And when your kidneys are trying to conserve energy, process waste slowly, or manage phosphorus buildup, these low numbers matter. White bread becomes a predictable, low-risk choice, a bread you don't have to overthink. And it's a big one, sodium can sneak in where you least expect it. Some commercial white breads contain over 200 milligrams of sodium per slice, which, for a senior on a restricted kidney diet, can add up quickly and silently. That's why it's so important to read the label and choose a low-sodium version, ideally with less than 150 milligrams per slice. When you find one, it's more than just a safe choice, it's a smart one. Why white bread works for seniors. Soft and easy to chew. Helpful for those with dental issues, dry mouth, or fatigue during meals. Easy to digest. No heavy grains, no bloating, no intestinal stress. Familiar and comforting, many seniors grew up on it, making it easier to enjoy emotionally. Affordable and accessible. Available in nearly every store, in every town, without breaking the budget pairs. Well with safe foods. It doesn't fight for flavor. It just supports the meal. Safe topping ideas, scrambled egg whites, gentle protein without phosphorus, unsalted butter, adds richness with no kidney load. Cucumber slices or zucchini ribbons, hydrating, kidney-friendly vegetables, phosphorus-free cream cheese. If available, check the label for safety. These toppings keep the meal light, balanced, and satisfying, without tipping over any dangerous lines. Why the reputation doesn't match the reality. White bread has been criticized for years, and in general nutrition, some of those critiques make sense. It's lower in fiber, it digests quickly, it lacks the complex nutrient profile of whole grains. But kidney care isn't about following the general rules. It's about knowing your body's limits and making choices that support function over fashion. When your kidneys are fragile, you don't need nutrient overload. You need control, simplicity, balance, and that's exactly what white bread provides. White bread won't impress your friends on Instagram. It won't win you points at a trendy cafe. But it will do something more important. It will protect your body quietly, without drama. It doesn't shout for attention, it just works, reliably, predictably, consistently. So yes, it's not trendy, but in kidney care, it's one of the most protective slices you can choose. Because at this stage in life, the goal isn't to follow fads. The goal is to feel well, stay stable, and enjoy food without fear. And sometimes that begins with the most unexpected bread on the shelf. Don't trust the front label. The truth is always on the back. Walk through any grocery store and you'll see the same story again and again. Bright labels shouting things like multigrain, high fiber, heart healthy, seeded for strength. But here's the problem. Those words aren't written for your kidneys. They're designed to sell bread, not to protect your health. And if you're over 60 or living with reduced kidney function, those so-called healthy options might actually be your biggest danger in disguise. Because what matters to your kidneys isn't what's on the front of the package. It's what's on the back. That's where the truth lives. So let's walk through how to shop smart, not scared, when choosing the right bread. Step by step, how to read a bread label. Step 1, flip it over. Go straight to the nutrition facts panel and the ingredients list. That's where your kidneys get the answers. Step 2, check the number sodium. Look for less than 150 mg per slice. Phosphorus and potassium. If listed, aim for under 60 mg on each note. These aren't always shown. If they're missing, go by ingredients. Step 3, scan the ingredients. Avoid breads with dairy products, whey, buttermilk, powdered milk, seeds or nuts. Whole grains, unless your renal dietitian approves them, enriched or fortified with minerals like calcium or iron, which may be phosphorus-based. If you're unsure about an ingredient, snap a photo and ask your healthcare provider or dietitian. No shame in asking. Your kidneys are worth the question. Smart tip, freeze the good ones. When you find a bread that fits all the right markers, low in sodium, kidney safe, and tastes good, buy extra and freeze it. Bread freezes beautifully and defrosts quickly in a toaster or pan. Doing this means less frequent shopping trips. Security if your favorite brand goes out of stock. You always have a safe option ready when hunger hits. Shopping for bread used to be easy. But now it's a strategic act of self-care, because when you understand the label, you reclaim power over your choices. And every slice that ends up in your cart becomes one more step towards stability, confidence, and kidney wellness. So, next time you're at the store, remember, don't fall for the front. Flip it, read it, know it, because your kidneys, they're not reading the marketing, they're reading the ingredients. Bread is only the base, the toppings make or break it. You've found the right bread, you've checked the label, picked the lowest sodium, skipped the seeds, dodged the dairy, but your job's not done yet, because bread doesn't come alone, it comes with what you put on it. And that's where many kidney-friendly meals quietly lose their safety. One good slice can become risky, just from the wrong spread, topping, or side dish. So let's get practical. Here's how to pair smart, eat well, and stay in control. Toppings to avoid. Even if they seem healthy, these are high in potassium, phosphorus, or sodium, and should be limited or skipped entirely. Peanut butter, potassium heavy and often high in sodium. Bananas or tomatoes, high in potassium. Cheese spreads, often loaded with phosphorus and sodium. Deli meats. Processed meats are notoriously salty, kidney-safe topping ideas. These options are gentle, familiar, and still satisfying. Scrambled egg whites, low in phosphorus, high in clean protein. Unsalted butter adds richness without sodium overload. Thinly sliced cucumber or zucchini, refreshing and kidney-safe, phosphorus-free. Cream cheese, available in some grocery chains, always check the label. Low potassium hummus. Make it yourself with chickpeas, garlic, lemon, and olive oil. No tahini. Simple, safe meal combinations. Think of these like kidney-friendly plates that offer comfort, balance, and variety. White bread meal. Idea: one slice white bread, low sodium, scrambled egg whites on top, side of steamed cabbage with olive oil drizzle. Oat bread meal. Idea: one slice oat bread, under 150 mg sodium, sautéed zucchini topping, bowl of low sodium vegetable soup. No tomatoes, no beans. Sourdough meal. Idea: 1 slice white sourdough, thin layer of homemade low potassium hummus, side smoothie with almond milk, plus apples, plus blueberries. These meals aren't just safe, they're simple, repeatable, and emotionally satisfying. They allow you to sit down, enjoy your food, and know that every bite is helping, not harming, your kidneys. Portion reminder: even the safest bread stops being safe in excess. That's why renal dietitians recommend 1 to 2 slices per meal. Watch your total daily intake based on your blood work and stage of kidney function. If you're ever unsure, snap a photo of your plate and bring it to your next appointment. Your healthcare team can help fine-tune your diet to fit your exact needs. You don't need to make every meal complicated, you just need to make every meal intentional. When the right bread meets the right toppings, you're not just eating, you're protecting your body, your energy, and your independence. Because in kidney health, meal planning isn't restriction, it's empowerment. Your kidneys don't lie, and neither does your body. In kidney care, even the best advice is still advice. And while guidelines are a great place to start, the truth is, your body tells the real story. That's why one of the simplest and most effective tools you can use is something no doctor can give you: a bread journal. It's not complicated. It's just a small notebook or phone app where you track what bread you eat, how much, and how it makes you feel. Here's what to log: brand and type, name of the bread, ingredients, sodium, potassium levels, if available, portion size, how many slices and at what meals, reactions. Did you feel bloated afterward, tired? Did your feet swell more than usual? Was your energy stable? Over time, this becomes a personal blueprint, not just what's kidney-friendly on paper, but what's friendly to your body in real life. It helps you spot patterns early, make informed swaps, talk with your dietitian more effectively, because what works for someone else might not work for you. And when it comes to kidney health, listening to your body is the smartest move you can make.